Hi everyone, Sandra Bale here at Homesteading Ways, and today I'm going to be canning up beans, black beans in particular. Much cheaper than buying them already canned at the store. Healthy, nutritious, and you know what's in them. So let's get started. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm getting my beans ready to boil here. Now there's two ways to get these going. First, you can soak them overnight. 8 to probably 10 hours is good enough. I did about 8 myself, a little over. And then you rinse them out, pick out any of the bad ones, save those for your chickens or your compost pile, and then fill it up with water again and boil for, I'd say, 2 maybe 3 minutes, and then you're ready to can them. The other way you can do it, especially if you're short on time, is to pick out your bad beans, rinse them and all that, put them in a pot with plenty of water like this one has, boil them for 2 to 3 minutes, and then turn off the heat and let them sit for an hour or so. Then rinse them, fill it with more water, get it back to that boiling point, and then you can can them from there. I like canning beans. They're not hard to do at all, and it's so incredibly convenient to have already cooked beans on your shelf. You can add them to almost anything. Pull them out of the can, rinse them, chill them, throw them in a salad. Put them in your casseroles, smash them up for refried beans. I put them in meatloaf, I hide them in spaghetti, lasagna, all kinds of stuff. They're high in fiber, high in protein, and they have vitamins and minerals in them. They're really a great addition to your diet. Most Americans have these on their shelves at all times. And it's a great filler for meat. If you're running low on meat, or you need to stretch your meat budget, this will really help you out. There's so many different kinds of beans to choose from, but my family prefers black beans, so that's mostly what I can. Now this is just about ready to boil. And while I was waiting for this to boil, I got my canner ready. You have to pressure can beans. There's no other way around it. So I have it loaded, and my jars are in there nice and hot. It's not boiling, it's just sitting there waiting. And then in the back I also have my lids in hot water waiting to be used. They're not boiling either. I just put them in really hot water and keep the burner on low. I don't add anything to my beans. I don't add salt. I don't add any spices. Because I'm not sure what I'm going to use them for, I just leave them plain as they are. A lot of people make sauces, and that's great. If you eat beans like that, that's definitely a way to go. We just don't, so I don't add anything to them. Now, when these beans are just about ready to boil here, there's this foam that'll come up on top, which I don't care for much, so I keep taking it off. I don't think it would hurt anything. It might cloud up your jars a little bit. Oops, a couple of beans in there. So I'm just going to take that off. At least some of it. I think that's some of the starch coming off as well. Okay, these are at the boiling point now. So I'm going to let them go for a minute or two, and then we'll be ready to can. Okay, everything's ready to go, so we will get started. I am canning pints, because now that there's only 3 of us at home, I don't need as much as I used to. And I'm hoping to get 8 pints, although I think it'll probably only be 7. I'm doing about 2 pounds of beans. I'm kind of guessing. I had a half a bag of a 2-pound bag and then a 1-pound bag, so I'm not even really sure. Now you're going to want more liquid in there. In fact, you might take a little bit of the beans out and put a little more liquid. I like to do about a ½ inch headspace. Make sure you have enough liquid in there. That looks good to me. And then, handy little thing here. Get those air bubbles out. Alrighty, seems good enough. Take my rag, make sure there's nothing on there. It's a nice clean dish rag, dishcloth, whatever you want to call it. And get my lid. This is such a handy thing, isn't it? No more burnt fingers. It's a bit hot though, so be careful. Not getting this lid on right for some reason. There we go. Now you want to tighten it, but don't over tighten it. Finger tight, as they call it. This is the first one going in. I'm just butterfingers tonight, aren't I? Do another one real quick here. Now you can do any kind of beans. My family just likes black. I know plenty of people that prefer navy. You can do pinto beans. You can also can lentils. Or split pea. Looks about good. You want to make sure to get those air bubbles out. If you don't have one of these, I usually will use the end of a wooden spoon. Although you can buy these nifty little kits at most stores for like $6 or $7. Comes with this thing here, the funnel, this thing, and then another doohickey that helps you get the rings off after they're done canning. If they're too tight, or maybe you have bad arthritis or something, you can use that and it comes off real nice. I just don't have it here now because I don't need it. Oh, forgot to wipe that. Don't forget to wipe. You don't want anything on that rim. And I'm going to finish up. Okay, we got them all in there. And like I thought, there was only enough for 7 pints. I had a little bit left, and that'll probably go to the chickens. But I'm putting the lid on here now. Make sure you always check your vent, that it's nice and clear. And then once you have your lid on, you can start turning up the heat. I'm below 1,000 feet below sea level, so I'm going to can these at 10 or 11 pounds pressure. Make sure you know what your altitude is, and check with your canner guide for your particular canner, or check Ball. The Ball canning books or canning sites are wonderful, and they can really help you out with any questions you may have. So I'm going to get this up to temperature. I'm going to let the vent go and steam for 5 to 10 minutes. Then I'm going to put my weight on there. This right here. But not quite yet. So, and then once it's on there, the pressure will start to build. And once I get up to my 10 pounds, I'm going to watch my heat carefully to maintain it. I don't want it going much higher than that, but I certainly don't want it going below. So once it's up to pressure, because these are pints, they're going to go for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. If they were quarts, I would say 1 hour and a half. So I'm going to let this go, and I'll get back to you when they're done. They're all done now. The canner has had plenty of time to cool down. The pressure, you don't take the lid off the pressure canner until the pressure's gone completely down. And then you can let it sit for a little bit, or you could take the lid off, and make sure to always open the lid away from you so any escaping steam doesn't come into your face. So I had the lid off for about 5-10 minutes now, and I'm going to unload it. If you're doing this later at night, kind of how it is right now, you can just leave them sit in the pot overnight if you like. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm going to put them out on the counter, and then you let them sit there for 12-24 hours. I usually do about 12, and then I check the seals. I'll pull a couple of these out. As you can see, this jar right here is still boiling. It's pretty interesting. So if you have, when the jars are really hot like this and you're going to set them out, make sure that you're setting them on a dish towel or something besides the plain countertop, because the change in temperature can crack the jars. And I tend to not have fans going or an open window at that time either. Okay, so they're all out, and they're going to be sitting there for the next 12 hours. When the time is up, you're going to take your rings off and you're going to check the seals. Already a few of these pinged, and I could tell that they were sealing. But after 12 hours, you want to check them. If it seems like something didn't seal, let it go for a few hours longer, up to 24 hours, and check the seal again. You want to make sure the inside, right here in the center, is indented. And then when you take the ring off, pull on that lid a little bit. If it doesn't come off, and especially if the right here is indented, then that's a good seal. If it didn't seal, you can always reprocess it. You want to make sure to start that reprocessing or the recanning within 24 hours of the first time. Otherwise, it may not be safe to eat. And if you don't want to reprocess it, then just stick it in the fridge and eat it sometime that week. It should be fine. Also, one other thing I wanted to mention with your canner, if you happen to live in an area with really hard water, you can always add a couple tablespoons of white vinegar to your canning water. That helps to keep it from getting this white stuff. I'm sure it's some kind of mineral deposits on the outside of your canning jars, and also on your lids. On your lids, a lot of times it'll be like dusty once it dries, but often it'll stain your glass jars. I had it at the last house I was at, and it was just terrible. It doesn't make for attractive jars at all. The food inside was fine, you know, but it just didn't look nice at all, and trying to get that off is really hard. So just try and remember, if you do have hard water, stick a little bit of vinegar in there, and that can really help you out. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I was happy to do it. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Please comment and subscribe. That would be great. Well, we'll be talking to you soon, and you take care.